Alrighty, kids, it's time. So what I'm doing here is I am going to um, turn all this into from here, from this line here. I might go over to here, kind of like this. Um, kind of like so. I want to go around this switch here. So how I'm going about this is I take paper. I was doing the pencil method, and I kind of didn't like that. And what I found easier is just laying the paper down on the track where I want to cover, and just taking my finger and doing the rub, right? Kind of like that. I'm not cutting out the middle, but you kind of see how you get that. And then I'm cutting out with scissors. I'm going to use that piece. I might need it because there's already a template on it. So kind of like this, right? Just pretend this is a bigger piece, right? That's what it is, and then I just cut it out. Right? And then that's the shape of this little section, this curve of track. And then I take this, take it over to my 1/8 inch balsa wood. So my base is going to be 1/8 inch and 1/16, and that will bring me just above my railhead. And then I can just I'm just going to do a measurement. So that's my railhead height from the base to the top of the head is 4.2 millimeters, and I am using, like I said, 1/8 inch balsa. So 1/8 inch balsa is 2.5 millimeters. Okay, 2.5, 2.6, something in there. It's two pieces are obviously too much. So I have code 83 Walthers Flex Track. So if you're doing a different code, like if you're doing code 100, that might be better. If you're using cork roadbed, you're going to be higher, especially if just your track is raised, and then because I think the cork is 3 millimeters, something like that, and then another 4 millimeters, so that would be 7 from the base, whatever you're using for your base, okay, to the top of the railhead. So you're going to have to measure, okay? You're going to have to measure. So that's where I am, 4 millimeters, with a piece of 1/8 inch balsa and a piece of 1/16 inch balsa. And what I'm doing is, because I want the piece to be just a little bit lower than the railhead. And what I did was, this is my 1/16 inch piece. And what I did, you can see here, I sanded it. So I took my block and sanded it. So like you could make a block. This stuff sands really good, cuts really good. If you make a block, use a piece of like a thick plywood, whatever you got, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, a strip, right? Maybe 2 inches wide, something that you can hold, right? You don't want to put it on a paint stick. You won't be able to hold it. Put it on a piece of plywood, something that's, you can grip. Put down some contact or white glue, something, and put a piece of 150 grit paper, sandpaper strip on one side, and then you could do two sides. You could do 150 on one side and 220 on the other, something like that, and use that as a fairing stick, a sanding stick. So like what I'm doing is, I'm taking the template, right, transferring it to my sorry, I'm trying to find a piece. Here we go. I'm transferring the template, right, to the piece of balsa wood. Right? Yeah, this is it. Right, so I'll transfer this, right, and then cut it out, right? What I'm doing is I'm just tracing it with a marker, and then taking a razor blade, like a box cutter. You need sharp knives, right? If you're going to use an X-Acto, you need a new blade. If you're going to need a box cutter, you need a new blade. You got to put sharp, right? It's got to be sharp. And just make multiple passes, thin cuts, right? Thin slices. And then fit it with your sanding block, right? Check it, sand, check it, sand, check it, sand, check it, sand. You get it, right? And then you'll wind up with, this is not the piece. So I glued this first piece down, right? Right, yeah. So you'll wind up with something like this, right? And I just gotta glue that down. Let me see where you're at here. Let me see if I can bring you in a little more. Bear with me, hold on. So you're kind of like this, right? You want a little bit of a gap between, between the rail and what's going to be your concrete. I do. And then again, I want it to be, I want my rail to be proud of this. I don't want it to be level with this. And I'm just doing a field test. And then I'll sand it back some. Sorry. I'll just sand it back some if I don't like the way it feels. And then I'll glue this piece down, right? And then I have another piece here, right? That's going to do the same. So what I'm doing is, I got this method from Boomer, and what Boomer did was, I think he only needed an 1/8 inch piece of balsa, and what he was doing was he was creating a relief on the backside that would nest over the top of the ties here, right? So he was just cutting like a rabbet, it's called, right? Just sanding a rabbet into the back, right? And that would create your rabbet here. So what you can do is just like take your pencil, hold it on your finger. Let me try to do this. Yeah, so what you could do is take your pencil, right? And your ties are, say, like a quarter of, not even, they're probably like 3/16. Take your pencil, your finger, and make a mark like that, right? Right? You're using your finger as a guide and your pencil, don't move it, right? And now sand that mark, right? Lay your piece down and sand it, right? Sand it, and make a groove that is tall enough for your ties. Okay, you understand? I will put both of Boomer's videos in this description. So he has a part 1 and a part 2. He talks about in part 1 he talks about doing this step, right? Filling this area in, And then in part 2, he talks about filling the center in. And you don't use balsa wood to fill the center in, you use styrene. Pretty ingenious way to do it. Really simple. Same way, but you're only 14 millimeters between the rails, okay, for HO, okay. This is all for HO. You N scale guys, you O scale guys, you got to do your own math, okay. But so again, I am 4.2 millimeters from my homicide base to the top of my railhead, no cork, okay. And to achieve that, I need an 1/8 inch balsa and a 1/16 inch, okay. And that will get me a little proud of the railhead, but I just sand that edge and I come down to where I want to be. And the car, what I don't want is the flange, you know, I don't think it will, you know, if you get some cars, they might hit if you're too high here, right? The trucks, you know, the spring parts of the truck or something, you get some different wheels that might be a little out of gauge. You're better to safe than sorry, right? Because once you put this down, I mean, once you put it down, you know, you can go in here with a knife and kind of like whittle away at this too. It's balsa wood, it's easy. So I'll bring you back as I progress through this, because there's a lot going on here, all right? And I'm already 11 minutes in. All right. Stupid thing. All right, so we come back. Let me tell you what I've done so far. So I've made a little apron here. It's out of all 1/8 inch or 16th inch balsa wood. Balsa's nice, okay? So you can work it with sandpaper. You can work it with a wood chisel. It really pairs really nice. And when I say pairing is like when you do things like this is pairing, right? So it pairs really nice. My chisel's not that sharp. Make sure your chisel's sharp, okay? Because I've really been working over here. So a sharp chisel, sharp tools everywhere. So I did that, and I'm happy with how the truck comes on and off. So I verithaned. Well, I don't use Varathane. I use a different brand. It's just a clear, water-based finish that I use for my furniture. So I cleared everything. Then I applied some gray. This is AK. It's good paint. Use good paint. I mean, good paint's worth it, okay? So then I did that. And I remember I still need to do the centers. I'll do the centers, I don't know when. I think what I am going to do next is work on the elevator, get that in place, make sure I don't have to move any tracks up that way. And then I think I'm going to run a little bit, and then I'm going to start weathering my track. And then I'll ballast. So I think I'm going to save weathering this concrete for one of the last things I do, I think. Not really sure. But happy with how this apron turned out. There's a couple layers of 16th balsa. You can get balsa from Amazon. It's pretty cheap. You can buy like 12 by 12 sheets in 16th or 1/8 inch, and it's easy to work with. This is pretty easy to do, okay? It's just take your time, have sharp tools, and you can do this, all right? It's easy. And what I'm going to do over here is after I start really detailing, I'll fair this in with some ground scenery, bushes, weeds, things like that. That's how I'll blend all this in. Blend this in, blend this in. But anyway, so we go from here all the way down to here. And from this track to the edge is where my transload area will be. And I should be able to fit 2 cars here. I could fit 2 trucks. I put a truck on this side, truck on that side, and it'll be cool. So, backdrop, it's pretty, I got the backdrop figured out. So, Dwight Curley gave me a suggestion. Back up. This is what I used. So, on all my joints, I put down some Golden's Model and paste. And I plan to skim the entire thing with this Golden's paste. It's like a little gritty. And then you just sand it back to kind of give it some texture, different texture than just the grit. It's different than grout, like sanding, like tile grout. It's a lot finer, which I think will wind up being nice in the end. So what I am doing is just following what Boomer did. I'm changing, with exceptions of, the different thickness balsa that I need. But everything else, products and how I'm going to go about weathering my asphalt or concrete, whatever this stuff turns out to be, I'm going to follow him. But anyway, hey, Dwight suggested, why don't you draw some, do those little V birds on the back of your background. Here's a couple there. So, no. I don't like birds. They crap all over everything. Anyway, subscribe and like and stay tuned because we're going to work at the other end. Going to do the Prairie Co-op next. Take care. Thanks.